Welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. Now, I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering my best weekly tips, motivation, inspirational stories, and transformation strategies so that you can gain clarity about what you need to do to reach your goals and give you the confidence to take action. The perfect time to start taking action is right now. So let's do this. This episode is sponsored by you. Yes, that's right. I didn't make a mistake. You guys are going to help me keep this Wednesday episode advertisement free. And you can do that by supporting me as one of my patrons. Now you can go to www.patreon.com/Million Pound Mission and find out how you can become one of my Patreon patrons. Now Patreon is spelled Patreon. So patreon.com/Million Pound Mission. You can sign up to become one of my patrons and get access to my private Million Pound Mission live Facebook group where we're going to be doing live online workouts, live mobility sessions, and live question and answer sessions. I'd love to connect with you guys and get you more involved in this Million Pound Mission. So check it out at www.patreon.com/Million Pound Mission. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude. How's it going out there in podcast land? Hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're fired up for this one. It's going to be good. This is episode number 120, Better Results Through Simplification with Jay Ferruggia. Now, we all know how easy it is to just get hooked and get sucked into that latest fitness trend and then spin our wheels and never get any real results. So today it's time, we're going to simplify things. We're going to focus on what we know always works well for us. And I'm bringing on Coach Jay Ferruggia, somebody that I have looked up to for a long time. I've been reading his stuff that he puts out for a long time. So I was super, super excited to get connected with him. Jay has actually been helping people become the strongest version of themselves since 1994. All right. You may have seen some of his stuff like I told you about. I read his articles all the time. He's had work in Men's Health, Muscle and Fitness, Maximum Fitness, Men's Fitness, Fast Company, Huffington Post, Live Strong, Muscle and Fitness, Hers, Shape, Entrepreneur, Details, or even on ESPN or CBS. So Jay has made a positive impact on millions of people by sharing his belief that simplicity is the key to health, wealth, and happiness. And in this discussion, we dive deep on his own story, how he became an influencer in the health and fitness space. That was super interesting for me to hear for sure about his background, how he got hooked on fitness. We also talk about his thoughts on how we should simplify our fitness programs in order to get better results, save time, put in more efficient work, and get better results. He also touches on how his strategies that he's developed on eliminating bad habits and replacing them with good ones. And then at the end, I just turn it over to him, and he just talks to you directly, and he just drops what he has to say to you right now to get you fired up for your fitness journey. You're going to love this interview. It was just a lot of fun. It was an honor for me to have somebody that I look up to so much like Jay on the show. So without further ado, here's episode 120, Better Results Through Simplification with Coach Jay Ferruggia. All right, Coach Jay, welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. How you doing today, my friend?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm psyched because I've been following you and your story for quite a while now. I know that you have influenced millions of people with your information, with your training programs, with your podcast. And I wanted to kind of go back to your story and how you got your start in the fitness industry and how you made that jump to where you are now.
Cool. I started when I was a little kid growing up. You know, I was skinny and weak and picked on and whatnot, not the greatest athlete. So I grew up watching Stallone and Schwarzenegger on the big screen, and Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior every Saturday morning on wrestling. And, when I was even younger, I was obsessed with superheroes, and I was like, man, and here I am, like, just this little chubby kid, and then I evolved into a skinny fat kid, and I was like, man, this is, I want to become one of these larger-than-life superheroes. And so I finally got into training, like, around 7th grade, when I was around 12 years old, and back then there was no access, like there was no internet, you couldn't go even really find any good books about it or anything. It was just like you had Muscle and Fitness and Flex Magazine and things like that. So my cousin Christine was dating a dude named Eric, who was a pro wrestler, not with WWE, but like this was a dream come true to have this wrestler. He was trying to get to WWE, he was in like a smaller federation, and to have this dude around all the time. He was like 6'5" and 250 and jacked out of his mind. And so he got me started writing me these different programs, and it wasn't the best for a beginner. I was a little 12-year-old dude doing like 6 hours, six hours, like
That's
2 hours
awesome.
a day, 6 days a week, and I was getting nowhere. Like I couldn't extend my elbows or anything. And so finally, I dug deeper and I discovered some of the old school stuff, some of the super squats and John McCallum, and then like Saxon and Hackenschmidt, and I got obsessed with that stuff. And then when I went into college, I was finally making some progress, and by that time I'd gained probably 30, 40 pounds. I graduated high school at 6 foot 147, so I really made no progress through high school, but then I kind of figured it out and cut my volume back and did programs that worked better. So I gained a bunch of weight and just became obsessed with it, and then started interning in the weight room. And I got sick halfway through sophomore year of college, so I had to go home, and I was on bed rest for a while, really sick. And during that time, in the back of Iron Man magazine, that was the only place you could access really good information. So I got some certifications, and I got all these other old books and VHS videos and whatnot. I was watching those, and I started training people that summer. And it just took off. And by the end of the summer, like 3 months into it, I was on pace to make 6 figures when I was like 19, which was crazy. And I didn't know anything about business at that time. So I said, man, I'm going to transfer back home. I can't leave this. Like this is awesome. I love what I'm doing, and I see the opportunity. It's just going to continue to grow. So that was kind of how I got my start.
That's incredible, man. And how old are you now? Are you 41?
43.
Okay. So I'm 37, so you're coming up a little bit before me, but I remember when I kind of caught the weightlifting bug, and I was reading Iron Mind and Muscle and Fitness, Powerlifting USA, and those guys are my heroes. So I can't imagine even getting hooked up with somebody that was a pro wrestler at that young of an age. That's pretty incredible. So
yeah, because I kind of graduated to Iron Mind. I don't feel like that was even around when I was first reading like Flex and Muscle and Fitness, and then once I found Iron Mind, I was like, oh man, and then I found like Randall J. Strawson and Anthony DiTillo and those guys, and that's when I started making some progress.
Yep. Yeah, I remember I read Super Squats as well, and I brought that into the gym, and everybody was like, this is stupid, and then and I did it, and I got stronger in my squats, and then I read Powerlifting USA, and there was an article, I don't remember which guy wrote it, but it was a Russian squat program, and I was squatting 4 days a week, and my squat went through the roof, and everybody's like, oh, that's dumb, but I just kind of, just tried it out, who cares, I'm in college, let's give it a go. So there's a lot of stuff out there right now, and you're somebody that's really experienced the growth of fitness. Like we're definitely in a different mode today than what we were, 15 years ago. So one of the things I'm really interested to pick your brain about is, in your opinion, what always works? There's so many changes and hacks and new developments, but what are some of the fundamental things? I know you're big on simplicity. So what, in your opinion, always works when we're trying to get healthier, get stronger, get leaner, or lose weight?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to getting strong first with a few basic exercises. And you can use barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, body weight, as long as you're loading and, you're doing fundamental movement patterns, you're pushing, you're pulling, you're hinging, you're squatting, you're doing some kind of heavy carry. 3-4 days a week, you do a 3-day full body, you can do a 4-day upper lower. That always works with a moderate amount of volume, progressive overload. Now, progressive overload is a double-edged sword. When you first start, you want to try to get stronger over time. So if you can do 5 reps with, let's say, 135, you eventually want to be able to do that with 140 or do 6 reps with 135. Where you start to get injured and start to get beat up is when you let your form go out the window and you just chase progressive overload forever. So you have to be smart about it. And some days you'll go in. If I could go back, 20 years, I wouldn't always try to go up a rep or add 5 pounds every single workout like I did. Certain days you don't feel good, you don't have to go up. That's smart. That's how you get injured. You don't want to sacrifice your form. But, the basics always work. Nowadays, you could see a million new exercises per day on social media. But the reality is there's probably I might be exaggerating, but 20 good exercises that you should do forever and slight variations of them. And again, it's just those fundamental movement patterns, getting stronger. A lot of people are misled into doing these crazy circuits all the time and high reps and no rest periods for getting lean. The reality is you could do triples on everything and still get just as lean. Getting lean comes down to your diet. Certainly cardio helps, but not as much as the mainstream people kind of believe. You had some conditioning for overall health and performance, obviously, some high intensity stuff. I think most people overdo the high intensity stuff, which is, the world we live in now where everything's high intensity. But if you're lifting heavy 3-4 days a week, and then you try to do high intensity stuff on your off days or as a finisher, you're going to get burnt out. We live in a world where most people have way too much stress that's unnatural. Just our lifestyles, our jobs, everything that they're too stressed already. So if you start adding all that high intensity stuff, you're just going to be fried. And then sometimes, unfortunately, what happens is people can dig themselves such a deep hole that it can take months to get out of that. So even though it's not cool and sexy to say, a really simplistic routine of just, some basic lifting in the 5 to 10 rep range and then doing low intensity conditioning, go on a rower or a bike or something, go for a swim, go for a hike on off days, and maybe 1 or 2 short high intensity sessions a week is more than enough.
So to dive a little deeper on that, where you just finished, let's say somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, Coach Jay, I need a program. I'm kind of average Joe, American. I lifted weights in high school, gained some weight after college and all that. So maybe 3 days a week, you said you could do different splits. What would you recommend to that type of a person, specifically with barbell movements, any of the specifics that we can get into there would be awesome.
Yeah. So, I would suggest a 3-day full body workout. Do an upper body push, an upper body pull. So let's say you do a dumbbell press and a dumbbell row, and then a squatting movement and a hinge. So if a guy hasn't trained since high school, I'm not going to have him do back squats and deadlifts. I'm going to have him do split squats and single leg RDLs, or maybe a back extension or a hip thrust, something like that. So do those 4 movements and then finish with some kind of loaded carry or something. Or if you want to finish with a curl, that's fine. 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps is good. And do slight variations of that. So slightly change the exercise each day. Do that 3 days a week over time. Progressively add load, add reps. And then on your off days, take 20 to 30 minutes and go for a hike, go for a swim, bikes, something like I said. I wouldn't even add high intensity stuff right from the get-go. And then I would progress into adding a finisher. So you might do, 200 meter sprints on a rower or sled dragging or something like that a few weeks into it. And just for 5 minutes at the end of a workout. And then you can increase that to 10 minutes over time, just twice a week. So it doesn't have to be this crazy thing that you see on Instagram and all that all the time. It can be really simple and you make progress. And as long as you're I would say make sure you're getting enough sleep more than anything. Make sure you're sleeping. And then nutrition, of course, is obviously really important. And make slow changes gradually. If you haven't trained since high school, and your lunch is McDonald's and you try to automatically follow some top CrossFit guy's workout and diet for a month, you're going to get nowhere. Just make super small changes slowly over time.
So you mentioned a couple of things already, but the next thing I want to pick your brain about is where are the average American, where are we screwing it up? What are you seeing people do, whether it's with nutrition or with fitness, that just really seems to be kind of a hack or a trend or whatever that's not, in your opinion, going to be fruitful in the long run?
I just think trying to overcomplicate it and doing too much high intensity stuff. I think if you just, Certainly more extreme programs can work, but you really don't need them. And I've been training, I'm 43 now. I've been training since I was 12, and I'm constantly trying to simplify my training. Like I'll only do 3 to 4 exercises a workout most days. That makes me happy. If I do more than that, I start to get distracted and bored. So I'm always trying to simplify it. And same thing with diet. So I think just the overcomplication and the intensity, and not doing enough, not paying enough attention to recovery. So if your lifestyle is just high stress and you're not sleeping, you're staying up till 2 a.m, that's going to kill you too. And we do glorify hustle. And look, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I'm an East Coast guy. I grew up, listening to hip hop 24/7, and I'm always grinding and hustling. But I've certainly gotten way better at it, where I make time for meditation and sleeping and float tanks and massages. You can't just go hard 24/7. I think that's the mistake so many people make.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely noticed too. I had my first major injury about almost 2 years ago. I tore my left pec, like a complete pec tear, doing a obstacle course race. And that was a game changer. The first time I had surgery, first time I've been under the knife, all that stuff. And now, like, I do mobility every bit as many minutes as I am in the gym lifting weights. And I try to get that through to the people that I'm talking to and coaching. And a lot of people are just like you said, they're just in hustle mode. They're like, oh, no, I need more high intensity. I need more, instead of sitting back. And it's like there's a mindset of, I have to get all this accomplished by a certain date or a deadline. And it just doesn't seem to work that way.
Yeah. And I've even changed the way, like if your training is beating you up so much that you need an hour of foam rolling and mobility even to train, like something's wrong. So that's another thing I would go back and change is, and I tell people all the time, slow down your reps, make sure you maximize tension. Pavel and Dr. Mark Chang have emphasized the importance of that for years. My friend Ben Pekulski, who's a pro bodybuilder, emphasizes that all the time. It's really important that your form and technique, unless you're competing and lifting or something, but if you're just in the gym training, your form and technique's got to be, picture perfect, slow down the eccentric, incorporate some pauses, and you shouldn't be as beat up, and then do exercises that improve your mobility so you don't need to do an additional 30 minutes of mobility stuff. So add in split squats, add in, certain things like a kettlebell arm bar or Turkish get up, single leg RDLs. Like that way you're getting mobility with your strength work. So you're getting the most bang for your buck and kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Jay, with just being efficient. Again, it's almost like in gyms, even in my gym, people are like, yeah, I did 8 hours this week, or I did 12 hours. I was like, it's just like, I feel like the double-edged sword, like I'm the worst businessman ever because they're paying for these classes. But I'm like, you really don't need that many. You shouldn't be doing that many, and it's a trip, man. It's crazy to see people in that mindset just beating the hell out of themselves. And me as a coach going, no, slow it down. And you'll get better results out of that. And a lot of times they don't believe that. So it's a trip.
Totally. And, there's so much more to fitness than just going to the gym and lifting weights and pounding yourself into oblivion. Like get out and play sports and do, live life, box, take a martial art or something. There's other stuff to do.
Yeah, 100%. Like go out and express that physicality. I've helped.
Right.
Yeah, I've helped. There's 15 people from my hometown that I've helped lose over 100 pounds. And that's one of the things I preach to them is that eventually you're going to run out of weight to lose. So let's look at different ways different things are going to fire you up. And a lot of them will do like a 5K, an obstacle course race, start doing martial arts. We have a great Thai boxing program and people are getting involved in that. So that's a cool thing to see once we can get people to bridge over to those other areas. And really they go, it's like playing a video game. They're like, oh, I have like muscle now and I can climb that rope and I can climb that ladder. I can punch something hard. It's really cool to see.
I love that.
All right. So another thing I've heard you talk a lot about is habits and how you look at taking bad habits and replacing them with good habits. So I wanted to see what kind of habits, like what kind of game-changing shifts have you made in your own life or that you've helped other people make where they've had a specific bad habit that's high impact and you've changed that over into a good habit that's had a good high impact?
So I'll initially start when I work with somebody by having them do an 80-20 evaluation. So first I want to see what they're doing over the course of a day and a week. And then we want to eliminate a lot of stuff that's time wasting, that is, having them overanalyze and overthink too much, overcomplicate things. So I try to just simplify and have them eliminate a bunch of stuff, and then just add one good habit at a time. So maybe it's getting up earlier, maybe it's just having a good breakfast, maybe it's getting 15 minutes or even 5 minutes of mobility work in first thing. That morning routine, I feel like, is one of the most important things people can do, because that sets the tone for your day. So if you can get up and have a healthy morning routine, and then that could be, like for me, for example, it's meditating, it's journaling, it's deep breathing and mobility work, and then it's focusing on my most important task for an hour, where I have a timer set, and there's, phone's off, all notifications, everything's off, the internet's off, and then I'm just working on something important. So setting up something, whatever's really important to you, whatever's going to make the biggest difference for you, for your health, your life, your business, try to get that done first thing in the morning, because when you start the day proactively versus reactively, you're going to, set yourself up for success. If you just wake up and you're responding to emails and freaking out and running out the door, you're already behind the 8 ball, and the whole day is kind of shot. So I think the morning is the key.
Okay. So now I'm really curious about your morning. You mentioned what you did, but what type of meditation, what type of journal? Are you using a specific journal, or are you just journaling in general? So what are some of the specifics with your routine, if you're cool with going into that?
Yeah, I've been using the HoloSync meditation for about 10 years now. So I used to do it longer, but I cut it down now to get at least 5 minutes, sometimes 10. On a good day, I'll get 30, but I want to just get at least that 5 minutes in. And then I have what is this journal I use? I mean, I've used the 5-minute journal. Yeah. I forget the one I have right now. But basically, I just write down 3 things that I'm grateful. So I reviewed yesterday, so I want to be, kind of in a mood of like positivity and happiness and thankfulness and gratitude. So I just write down 3 things that I'm grateful for that happened yesterday. So it might be I had a great workout, I had a really great chat over coffee with my friend, it was super nice weather, whatever. It could be anything. And I try to look for small things too, and I change it every day. And then I write down the names of 3 people that I'm grateful for, and I change those every day too. And that usually ends up being like 12 people or 15 people. But
that's awesome.
And that's it. So I try to keep it simple. Now, in the past, I think so many people have gone through this, at least that I've talked to, where they overwhelm themselves with this crazy morning routine. So I simplified that too. So it's just 3 things, 3 names. I read 1 page slash passage from either the Tao Te Ching or The Way to Live by Epictetus, and that kind of sets my mind right. And then I will do some mobility stuff. I might just do really basic stuff that, like, so if anyone's listening, they don't even have any ideas about good mobility drills, just do joint circles. So start with your neck and your shoulders and just kind of do slow circular motions with your joints. You can just go from neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, ankles, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's obviously way more complicated ones, but they're hard to explain.
Right.
So just do that for a few minutes, just get moving, and then get to work.
Nice. So how long does that first part take you, where up to the point where you actually start your hour of focus on your work?
It's like 30, 40 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's super efficient. That makes me feel
good. And then when I'm doing... Sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say, when I'm doing the mobility stuff, I'll listen to something that's going to motivate me for the day. So it's probably like some kind of audio book I'm listening to at the time or something. Nice.
That makes me feel good, because I have a similar routine. So I feel like, all right, if Coach Jay's doing this and I'm doing similar things, then we're good. I've used 5-minute journal. I use a best self journal.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like that a lot. It's very similar to what you just did. They also incorporate some like quarterly goal setting that you're accountable to. So I like that. It's kind of my jam. Now, I want to dive into a few other I had some people that emailed me some questions to toss your direction, including our mutual friend, Coach Cav. So even though Coach Cav sent a few things, somebody wanted to know what your current fitness goals are looking like right now? I know on Instagram you just put up a progress picture of the paleo program that you're doing and just looking lean and shredded. So what are you aiming for right now personally?
Yeah, I'm 43, so I just want to, I want to continue to get stronger, but feel better. It's not, like I said earlier, I'm not pursuing strength where I'm just destroying myself in the process. So I want to continue to get stronger. Of course, I'd always love to be the size of The Rock, but that's never going to happen. So just, stay lean, stay healthy, stay mobile, keep inflammation as low as possible, and continue to, I definitely sacrificed mobility and athleticism over the years of being a meathead and just, training like a dummy for a lot of time. So I'm trying to get that back now. I'm never going to be enough of a non-meathead that I'm going to sacrifice a ton of size and strength just for that goal. But I really want to just continue to be more athletic and try more stuff that I sacrifice. So I'm boxing. I'm trying new things. So where I'm dedicating myself to do more yoga now. I'm boxing with my friend Tony Jeffries, who's an Olympic medal winning boxer. And I'm adding in new stuff slowly here and there. So that's really my goal. And then my workouts are super simple. Right now I'm doing 4 days a week, upper lower. And for example, yesterday's lower body workout was single leg RDLs and split squats and single arm farmer's walks at the end. I did like 5 sets of 5 of each of those, slow and controlled, and that was it. So 3 exercises done.
Nice. So what is your mindset? I know you've recently dropped a little bit of weight. Is that right? Like you used to walk around like 210, 215, and then now you're like in the 180s. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, for probably, I don't know how many years I was 220 plus, and I probably wasn't really that healthy. I wasn't that lean. I didn't feel that good, but I was strong and I was big. But now, I don't even remember the last time I was over 200. It's probably been 5 years now, maybe 4 years since I've been over 200, and I'm 186 right now, and I feel good.
Right. I know. Because I come from a similar meathead background, and I've done a similar journey. Like I used to be way overweight at 327, but then, I felt really good about 220, 225. I'm 6'3", but now I've been dropping weight and leaning out and focusing more on mobility, very similar to what you've described for yourself. Like how has your male ego messed with you, or has it at all as you've dropped that weight and you don't like, I have to drop to a size large shirt now instead of an XL. And so has any of that kind of mentally, any of that stuff messed with you at all as you've dropped weight and not been as meatheadish?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I would love to say no, that I'm so evolved in Zen life. It definitely comes into play, especially when I'm around some good friends of mine who are significantly bigger. I'm like, oh man. Yeah. And then I just started eating an extra 1,000 calories a day for a few days. But so the real answer to that question though is that I've evolved so much personally, so it's hard to even compare. Like if I was the same person I was 10 years ago, I think I would always be stressed out and insecure about weighing 30 pounds less. But I chose a journey of personal development, and I prioritized that above training or above business knowledge or anything for the last 5 to 7 years. And because I've evolved so much, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Now, when I was 220 and I was in a room with a bunch of, what may have appeared to be alpha males, I would be the most intimidated guy in there. Now, at 186, if I'm in the room with those same guys, I know that I can lead them. Like if some shit goes down, I'm going to lead us out of there. Like I just have the confidence now that I never had. And so it's hard to say,
Yeah. I had a major ego just stab in the heart. I was at a workshop probably a couple months ago, and this guy sitting across from me is like, "You own a gym?" Most of those gym owners are like these big guys. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So I said, I could still, let's do push-ups right now. I'll take you.
Right.
So I had to prove my alpha maleness. So next question that somebody emailed in is, we know that you're a fan of the sweet potato, aka the yam. What's your go-to healthy meal right now? If you had one, death row meal or whatever you want to call it, like what's that going to go to? But it has to be healthy.
So I do a grass-fed steak. I do a grass-fed filet mignon and a sweet potato with coconut butter. And that's it. If I'm going death row, I'm not going to mess around with the veggies. I just have a steak and sweet potato.
Now, that's something that I've discovered recently with sweet potatoes is I used to always like chop them up and put olive oil on it. And then I had somebody on Instagram like, no, put coconut oil on there and cinnamon, and it's like a dessert. And it just was a game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah. I mean, with coconut oil, it's amazing. With coconut butter, because it's sweeter, it's a real dessert. It's incredible. Yeah.
Nice. I'll up my game there.
And I do prefer Japanese yams over regular. Japanese are incredible.
Are those the purple ones?
They are. So there's purple ones. Those are more reddish on the outside, but they're yellow on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're out in Cali, man. Like Midwest, it's like they're like, what's a yam? What's that?
Right.
Can you get that at McDonald's? Yeah. So yeah. I'll have to like order them in special. All right. Next question from the audience is, if you could only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life, what would they be?
I'd say a 1-arm dumbbell row, probably an incline dumbbell press. I love that. I mean, I love a ring push up too, but I'd probably do an incline dumbbell press just because I love moving heavy weight on that. And maybe a sled push for legs. Nice.
Yeah. Now, I know on your Instagram page, I saw a more recent video of you doing like a hold one press where one's up and then you do the rep on the other side. I love those. So could you explain to the listeners like what the benefit of that is?
Yeah, so you get more core stabilization. It becomes more of I hate the term, but it becomes more of a functional exercise. You incorporate more muscle groups, and then there's the stabilization factor, so it's good for your shoulders. A lot of times we just always do, like unilateral single limb stuff is avoided a lot. A lot of people don't do it, so it's good to add that in. And most people don't. They might do 1-arm rows, they might do lunges or something, but they usually don't do a lot of pressing single limb. So it's good to just even out imbalances. If you do that for the first time, you're like, holy crap, my right arm's way stronger than my left.
Yeah.
That's an issue because imagine what's happening when you're constantly just pressing a bar or machine. So you want to stick with single limb training for a while until that kind of evens out a little. And then it might even be a sign that you should go see a soft tissue specialist because there might be something inhibiting that arm. If it's dramatically weaker, sometimes just training it until it comes up isn't going to work. You might have to go see somebody to work on something there. So, it just opens your eyes to a whole bunch of different things. And like I said, it's more full body. You get the core and you get the stabilization. It's really beneficial. And a lot of times after people incorporate single limb stuff for a while, even guys who are really into powerlifting or Olympic lifting and only done barbell stuff, if they go on a 6 to 12 week phase of adding in that stuff, their big lifts go way up.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed. One of my last powerlifting competitions, I found out that I was like pinwheeling on my deadlifts. I was turning to where one side would really dip like noticeably. And I'd always had my hands, I would always did right hand under, left hand over, always. And then I ended up seeing a massage therapist and a chiropractor, and like, man, your right erector is like twice the size of your left erector. And they're trying to figure out like, it's your hands. And so I had to start doing all the single leg stuff and single arm stuff to balance it out because it was just crazy. And I kept on having these injuries to the left side of my body because of that. So single limb movement is super important to everybody that's listening out there. So last reader or the listener question is books. They're interested in what you are reading right now.
What am I reading right now? So I just recently read The Culture Code, which instantly became one of my all-time favorite books. I'm going to reread that a couple times. And then I'm actually in a rereading thing right now. So, and then I have here on my bookshelf here, I just got Ryan Muncie's new book, who's a friend of mine. Aubrey Marcus sent me his new book. So I'm going to read those two. And then I have Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy, which was also a gift. And then I got another gift called Getting to Yes and the Art of Business Improv, which was sent to me by a coaching client who knows how much I love improv. So he sent me this, so this looks pretty cool too.
Nice. Now, you mentioned improv. I know you mentioned a second ago, you're a fan of hip hop, but only pre-96. Is that right?
No. I'm obsessed with pre-96 hip hop, but no, I mean, I love tons of new stuff like J. Cole and Kendrick and everything. I mean, I've listened to hip hop a minimum of 3 hours a day since 1985.
That's unbelievable. That's
awesome. So it's had a bigger impact on me and influence on me than anything else, anyone else. From my work ethic to my rebelliousness to my worldview to so many different things. So it's always been a huge part of my life.
So what is it about the pre-96 though? Like what changed in 96 that made that shift for you?
I don't know. It just seems to be generally accepted that old school is before 96. Okay. And that's when things started to change a little bit. And then late 90s was, okay, but it wasn't like the golden era. I think technically the golden era is always 96 and earlier.
Yeah, a little known podcast fact. I've never mentioned this before. My sister actually, she set up my friend and I in third grade talent show. I was in the third grade talent show. Did a dance to My Adidas with my best friend Sean Kemp. Not Sean Kemp that played for like the Seattle Supersonics, but Sean Kemp from Bloomington, Indiana. So shout out to him. And God, I'm just so glad there wasn't like YouTube and Facebook back then. I'd be reliving that deal. That was awesome. All right, so Jay, I want to make sure that people can get connected to you because your information is legit. It's awesome. It's helped me. Like I said, it's helped millions of people.
Thank you.
And I hope that we've sparked some interest in that direction. So I know you've got the podcast, Renegade Radio. You've got your website. You've got books. You've got the whole deal out there. You write all kinds of articles. What's the best way to follow you and connect with all the information that you're putting out there?
Yeah, they can just go to jay.fit, jay.fit, and it'll send them there, and there'll be links to my Instagram, podcast, and everything.
Excellent. And I'll link that up in the show notes and in the blog so that all you guys can get connected with Jay. Now, I've got one last question for you, Jay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man. So let's say that somebody is out there listening and they are just struggling a little bit. So they're, probably feeling a little bit sorry for themselves. Maybe they've tried some things and they do I work out for a few months and I backslide and back and forth, and they're a little bit feeling beaten up by that. If you could sit that person down, look them in the eye, get a hold of them and fire them up, what would you say?
I'd probably just ask them, why they want to do it. You always have to have a why. If you're doing it for somebody else or for some reason, external reason that's not really motivating to you, you're not going to stick with it. So what do you really want out of it? Why are you doing it? Who are you trying to impress? What's the real reason? Is it for your health? Is it to be around for your kids? Is it to play? You got to identify why. Because if you just go to the gym with no goal and no idea why, same thing would happen if you started a business like that. So I would do that first. Figure it out, and then figure out what's going to motivate you to stick with it. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, keep it super simple. Like you can literally, if you're just starting and you know you're going to quit, just do 2 sets of push-ups, 2 sets of inverted rows, and 2 sets of split squats in the living room. And that's enough. Let's say if you could stick with that 3 days a week for 3 weeks, and then we'll add some more. Start really small and slow. And if you're going to a gym somewhere with a trainer and he's beating you up and making you sore, get out of there. You shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be hard. It should be very simple and easy at first. Same thing with your diet. Keep it simple and easy. And only add or subtract one thing at a time. If you know you're having dessert every night, try to just cut down the dessert into half the normal portion. And that's a good enough change for the first few weeks. Don't remove it and completely go on the Spartan diet. None of that ever works. So gradual changes, keep it simple, start slow. I think that's the best way to go.
Coach Jay, dropping knowledge as always, man. Dude, I just am so grateful and appreciative that you spent some time with both myself and my audience today. As I told you before, I'm on this 1 million pound mission. It's going to happen. And I know that people will be inspired by what you just said. and they're going to take action and they're going to get results. And those pounds are a direct result of you. We're tracking the number. We're going to cross that million. And once I cross the million, I'm going to email every single person I've ever had on the show and let you guys know. So I will be accountable to you, my friend. And, I followed your stuff. You've made a big impact on me. This was a benchmark interview for me. I worked hard to work my connections to get you on the line with me. And, I just want to say thanks because it means a lot to me that you were here today with myself and my audience.
Adam, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I love what you're doing. It's awesome. And I love that the sincerity and everything just comes across in you and just seem like such a great, likable dude. So keep doing it, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it very much, Jay. All right, everybody. Now you know what time it is. This show isn't just about entertainment. I need action. All right. So pick one thing that Jay said and take action on it in the next 24 to 48 hours. Apply it to your transformation process and get to work because that is how we get out there. That's how we own it. Every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode. Hang on just 1 second before you go anywhere, everybody. I've got a huge favor to ask of you, all right? We are in this together. We are doing this 1 million pound mission together as a community. And I'm so excited about the progress we've made so far. We're going to keep building it one person, one transformation, one voice at a time. It starts with my voice blasting into this microphone, giving you everything I've got, trying to inspire you and motivate you and give you the tools that you need to make those transformation dreams come true. The next voice is your voice sharing it with somebody else. Let somebody know that this will make an impact for them, that it inspired you and it might inspire them. If you really want to go all out, share this episode on your favorite social media platform. And if you do, please tag me so that I can give you a great big thank you. That's it. Share this out with one person that you think it could make an impact with, that can make a difference with. And I'll be so, so grateful for you. We're in it together. 1 million pound mission. It's on, my friend.